It's very relevant because previously on one of the projects I had helped with working on an open source application for people who are actually affected from disasters or whatnot, and they're using handheld mobile apps to help to engage with the local AIDS organization and local, maybe say Red Cross or something like this. This is something that has really an evidence to transcend what was traditionally sitting inside offices, inside IT departments, onto actual applicable areas, whereas, like you said, references to medical, references to health, or even education. Right now, technology is seeping into areas that people are really beginning to reap the benefits. It's no longer just about a few games or toys that technologists are playing in the garage, in the basement. It is now actually put out to use by everybody in the industry who historically may not be associated with technologists. I think in a way it brings a positive experience to the folks who are bringing in social media on the streets, whether it is in the form of instant communication or instant getting feedback from elsewhere that could be fed back into people who are going onto the streets. I could only think of positive things to talk about. This is something that was almost a novel idea for people a few years ago, whereas people in the generation now, this is something that they've grown up with. This is something that they feel completely comfortable with. And it's something that is an emerging technology. It's something that is an emerging communication that people need to, one, grow more comfortable with and seeing how it evolves in the future. It's very relevant because previously on one of the projects I had helped with working on an open source application for people who are actually affected from disasters or whatnot, and they're using handheld mobile apps to help to engage with the local AIDS organization and local, maybe say Red Cross or something like this. This is something that has really an evidence to transcend what was traditionally sitting inside offices, inside IT departments, onto actual applicable areas, whereas, like you said, references to medical, references to health, or even education. Right now, technology is seeping into areas that people are really beginning to reap the benefits. It's no longer just about a few games or toys that technologists are playing in the garage, in the basement. It is now actually put out to use by everybody in the industry who historically may not be associated with technology. I think Agile right now, in the last year or so, it's really kind of gone into mainstream instead of something that was a niche, a novel idea. I think it changes people's thinking significantly. We need to get out of the box thinking Agile is just a technology methodology. It's just a way for programmers to do something. It really isn't. And it's gone into things like changing business, how they think, changing the different departments of the organization. It's about everything to do from responding to the problems that you need to solve as a business, and how you as an organization internally and externally connect with each other, and really looking at the problems that's just not within your own department per se, but how we're going to respond to the changing environments that your organization is in. It's to do with anything from talking to marketing department, talking to your sales department who are going out to talk to your customers, and it's also to do with getting people who are usually stuck inside the offices to go and talk to people and getting that feedback. Very funny enough, a lot of people think Agile development is just a new thing. It's going to be a fad, it's going to go away. But when people start to realize and appreciate how much of it is to do with communication, collaboration, and the people factor of it, it really kind of just wows them and blows them away. There are many. So a lot of what the agile principles or the practices does call for people who are passionate about things. It's a form of intrinsic encouragement. It's very difficult to try to convince people to say, hey, you need to try this out, you need to engage with customers, you need to engage with your business departments if they think it's just a job. Many people who are evangelists for agile aren't here just because they're here to do the job. A lot of the times they are devoting free time, they're devoting weekends, they're devoting evenings to collaborate and talk to people who are just as passionate about what they do, about the things that they stand for, about the things that they represent, how it's going to change so different in so many ways, not just within their industry but beyond too. I don't know. One of the top tips is, look out for things that are in the surroundings. Look out for any resources. You may be looking at blogs, looking at people who are sharing the slides, looking at people who are sharing resources who you may not have access to if you're only looking at books. Things are changing on the horizon so much and so much quickly at the pace that maybe you look at some local groups. There must be some sort of agile local groups in many, many cities, not just in Brazil, but in all the different cities to tap into that common knowledge and connect with other people and talk about it. So the first thing that's really positive encouragement is to talk about the things that you guys may be trying out or something that you don't understand yet. Some other people would be more than happy to give you examples of what they're trying, what they're doing, and collectively this is how you continuously improve. I think especially with things like co-working spaces, anything that encourages a collaborative environment between individuals who may not cross paths at all otherwise. It's a key thing to try to change the scene and changing the underlying behavior of how people work and how people share ideas. Traditionally or in conventional spaces, you tend to group people who are within the same department or the same lines of thinking in one space, and there's no injection for diversity, there's no injection for things that people would come up with ideas that you may not even think about. That's really important, and I say it's important because it's integral to changing or changing that sharing mechanism on how people work. It's no longer about you sitting in a cubicle and in an isolated space and all of the ideas you have to come up with it in a vacuum. It's about making sure that you're sitting with somebody who is in your co-working space who may not even be in your industry. We need to let go of the fact that, oh my God, I'm going to hold on to all my trade secrets, I'm going to hold on to all my ideas. It really isn't. It's about opening up that creativity, opening up any kind of possibilities. One good example is of the latest technologies that have been emerged is usually collaborations between people from completely different spaces or completely different specialized fields coming together and sharing some ideas. That I think is going to be really leveraged and facilitated by places like co-working space.